Hello everybody and welcome to one more video on big units, and this time this is the British Army for the Battle of Brandywine during the American War of Independence. Um, Up to a few years ago, the 11th of September was famous in America, United States, due to this battle exactly, which happened on the 11th of September 1777. I think from 2001 on, it is, unfortunately, a very very different anniversary. I'm referring to the Twin Towers, of course. So you have here something that I, as usual, started many moons, in fact, some decades ago, when Airfix was still the only one that had American War of Independence plastics. Then Accurate started to do the same, Revel doing the same. So I managed to, thanks to these three brands, I managed to gather quite a sizable force, both of British and Americans. I also have an American army that I'll show you later. And then, years ago there was a few more add-ons by Italeri, and even PSC, Plastic Soldier Company, sent some brilliant gaming pieces for a 20mm game they have, and I bought a number of them. I use them for commanders, for Highlanders. There's also Hessians and things like that. I only bought Hessians because I had to, because in fact I had them already from Revel. So this is also a very interesting battle and a very interesting conflict. Everybody gets, of course, I think, uh, excited when we see those thin red lines, of course, advancing over open fields in North America, being shot by militia, and even so keeping their ranks. The same with the Hessians, of course, in many movies, Patriots and those very old series like George Washington and things like that. So when I was a kid, of course, I got especially George Washington, because I was no longer a kid when the Patriot the movie came. But I remember that this kind of stuff always somehow sparks our attention for this conflict, and of course the availability of figures. So as I told you, Airfix, Accurate, Revel, slowly by slowly they started to release their sets of figures. Some of them are not exactly American War of Independence, but I think they can be very easily adapted to American War of Independence. So let's see what we have here. So you have here the up to, let me see if I don't do any mistake, up to here. Okay, you have, let me now grab a very old miniature war games from 2005 magazine, and this was the order of battle that I used for the British. It's here, and also the American one is here. So, and this is number 268. There is Brandywine in two separate articles. So the next magazine will have the second part where the battle is where the battle happens. Now this one is for historical information and also the order of battle. So this one was the one I used. I also have, because of the American War of Independence, of course, being a very interesting period, I always do this for each period that I have. I make always a dossier with the information that I feel that should be printed. Others are, of course, only on my PC, on the favorites, of course. For instance, this is one of the sets of rules that I'm intending to use. I base these guys here according to a very nice set of rules by one of the wargamers, one of the great wargamers, in fact, of in England, which is Will McNally. He made a very nice set of rules that you can have for free in his blog, which is Fire at Will. He's also a little bit like me. He models big armies, and he he uses mostly plastics, but nowadays he's also into 3D resins, a little bit like me, and of course, and we use everything that we can get our hands on, like metal, resin, whatever, for almost every period. And I think, even if I don't know him personally, I think he's also a big fan of stashing. Of course, stashing is a very good hobby also. So you have here Victory or Death. This is by Little War TV. I've printed for instance, these are the historical scenarios. You can see here, there's quite a bunch of them, some 10. These rules are also nice. I mean, frankly, I'm not a big expert on rules. I generally, what I do is to pile up armies, and these are French flags, something else. And this is the core rules. Okay, you can also print them for free, like Will McNally's rules, if you want. And you have to go to Little Wars TV if you want. Of course, they have a very different presentation. Of course, they are very well designed and things like that. But frankly, I can't speak much about its quality. Probably they are good because these guys from Little War TVs are I think great wargamers, and they give a very good service to the wargaming community. But the good thing also about American War of Independence is that not only you can have relatively cheap figures because they are plastic, but you can also find an incredible amount of information regarding American history. And as Americans have a very short history. I mean, American Indians have a very long history, but nowadays, North Americans, of course, have a much smaller history, especially since colonization, of course. And so it's from the 16th century, 18th century, 19th century. As they have a small history, and it's somehow shrinked and packed into the times. Into time, sorry. The fact is that they go to extreme lengths. They go to incredible detail whenever they enter their history. I remember buying magazines simply dedicated to American War of Independence. I remember when I was a kid also that there were magazines only for American Civil War, which were monthly magazines, and more than one. So they have an incredible they have an incredible detail. Investigate. They go to great lengths into investigating their own history, which is good, of course. I'm not complaining, on the contrary. Now let's see a little bit the figures. Okay, so you have here, for instance, the big man. Of course, you can see here. I mean, General Howe. Okay, he's here. Oh, let me. Okay, and these are PSC figures, more recent PSC figures, gaming figures, 20 millimeter, very well proportioned, and great figures, as you can see. There is a dragoon going along with General Howe. You can see here some Italeri dragoons also. You can see here the Essen Jaegers. These were, I mean, not brigaded units. This is one of the squadrons was horse. It was in horse. These Jaegers. So there is also a stand of horse holders, and there's some artillery. Regarding the artillery, I'm doing the following. For instance, I'm using the Waterloo French artillery from Airfix in order to make limbers. Probably you can recognize the basis of the gun of the French, of the artillery, of the Airfix artillery. Then with some horses and probably by Revel. I am using also plenty of, as you'll see, 7 Years War Revel figures. They go along very well with the American War of Independence. And you have a very nice limber. And then from the internet you can find, I mean, something very approximate, which was what approximate to this, of course, that the British were using in the 70s of the 18th century. So these figures are also Revel, and the gun is maybe Revel. I'm not sure. Sometimes I'm not sure about exactly which. And some guns are intending to be 12 pounders, others are 6 pounders, others are 8 pounders. Now you come here to the. Let me check the magazine, because otherwise I will not know exactly which brigade I'm talking about. Let's go to the information, to the true one. So you have here General Edward Matthews Brigade. You can see here again another PSC officer. You see here the light infantry. They are mostly conversions. You can see them. I mean, some of them are Eschi Waterloo with round hats, and with closed jackets as the and shortened jackets also. So the Waterloo figures are okay, and with slouch hats with a feather. All this is made with milliput and things like that, of course. So these guys are conversions. You can see other kind of positions also. You have this running guy from Eschi, from Waterloo Eschi, and as I always do, I always place the foot, if he's on the air, holding something. In this case, it's a rock. So you can see the guy here, he becomes very sturdy. Otherwise, he will probably have a lot of paint flocking around. So this is a way to make figures sturdier. But I've been showing you this in other both on my blog and also on these videos. So you can see here the guards, first and second guards. You can see them here. Again, accurate and revel and revel figures. Exactly, I think so. There are also some conversions. You can see here the flag bearers, of course. They are converted. The rifle is taken out, and then flags are placed. You can see here a new drummer, in fact, also. He's a guy that previously was holding a rifle by accurate, I think. Now he's holding a drum, and also has a new head from one of the Grenadier figures that come with accurate or even Airfix, I'm not sure. Just to be different, of course, because you can see here for instance, the original drummer by accurate Revel. So these guys are always in the same position, so they are intended to be guards, of course, and holding their position very well. You can see here the Grenadiers, the converged Grenadier battalions with slightly different paintings on their cuffs, because they are extracted from several regiments, of course. So you can see here, and all of them are Airfix, I think. No, in fact, there is a guy over there, that drummer over there, with the green jacket. Is coming from, I mean, the one to the right is coming from maybe Accurate, I'm not sure. It's coming from somewhere. There's more artillery, using the same trick that I've showed you. There is some of the lighter guns didn't have wheels. They were carried by one horse, and it was immediately limbered to the gun. So no wheels for some of the smaller artillery pieces of the British Army. Now you come here to this is General Charles Grey. Exactly. This is the 3rd Brigade. Okay, more Revel accurate everywhere. And you have here something new, which is the famous Black Watch. You can see the way I did it in a much better way on my blog. If you want to go to, let's try to see if it focuses. Okay, if you want to go to my blog, jpwargaming place, or jpwargaming.blogspot. If you write these things, probably it will come. And you can see here the 42nd Black Watch. These guys are Austrian figures, in fact, by Revel. And then I made a Barrett, probably using evergreen, green stuff. And they are, I think they became relatively nice. More conversions here, of course. For instance, the Piper got new legs. I think it's the guy from Eschi or Italia, I'm not sure. The officer, I have no idea where this guy came from, but it was made with the helps of and bits of green stuff and things like that, of course. And flag bearers are also some Frankenstein conversions also. But I think the battalion became, in fact, this represents the 2 battalions that were in the battle. They both belong to the 42nd Black Watch Regiment. There are also some casualty markers. Some of them are not very, I mean, very badly treated. They are firing figures from airfigs. Probably some of you will recognize them. This one is fighting on the ground, but at the moment is dead, of course. This one was also advancing on the ground with his musket at the front. But then it was a little bit squashed. The head was cut, placed in a different position, and they became casualty markers. You can see others here. A little bit the grim side of wargaming. More artillery. For instance, this limber comes directly, more or less directly, from the Revel 7 Years' War artillery. Then the guy that is pushing the horse is an American Revel soldier. There are some mix of airfigs, as you can see, the guy with the barrels, and there are also some conversions. Some guys that were holding the rifles are now manning the gun. And also an infantry officer that was passed through the artillery. You can see here the divisional commander. I mean, at least this left division commander, which is of course Charles Cornwallis. You can see him here. Here's the guy. I mean, the divisional stand generally I place a second figure in order to be distinguished from the brigade stand. More of the same for which of the brigades? Let me check. For James Agnew Brigade. So James Agnew is here. Another Revel accurate figure. Plenty of Revel accurate figures everywhere, all along the regiments of this brigade. A few more conversions over there. You can see flag bearers are also converted figures. There are some. For instance, there is also a sapper over there, coming from the Austrian 7 Years' War set. With a new head, he becomes a British sapper. Okay. This guy is also I think, an Austrian officer turned into a British one. And in fact, you can see already here plenty of Austrian 7 Years' War turned into just painted as British. And I think they go along nicely. You just need to cut the feather they have in the hat, and they become British. Very easy. And I think the figures, they turned into British. I don't know if they speak British or not. Probably still speaking German, but that's another problem. More artillery, same unit, no, this one was already shown. Now you come to the Hessians. And here starts the right division, the division from the right side, if I can call it. This division here faced the British, pinned the Americans, and this one, the one that we saw previously, made a big turn over the right wing of the American army and made the American army to collapse. So it was a joint effort by these two divisions. So you see here plenty of Revel. This is von Linsing, if I'm mistaken. Von Linsing, exactly. Grenadier Battalion. So converged figures from converged companies from several. You can see from the different trousers and different mitre caps. So they came from several battalions and regiments of the Hessian army. You can see here von Dunlop's and others. Let me just show you this one. All these figures are Revel, and they are very beautiful. I like these figures a lot. Only the flag was taken out and replaced by a paper one. And these figures of Revel are absolutely astounding. And they fit to the Hessians of the American War of Independence very well, together with the other battalions over there. More artillery. This one is Hessian artillery, coming also from the Austrian Revel set. More of the same contraption that I've showed you in order to tow the guns. Now, after sorry, I made a mistake. Sorry. This Hessian brigade here is still from the the left division of General Charles Cornwallis. I'm very sorry for this mistake. Please don't force me to make another video, okay? Now, from here on, it starts the smaller division that in fact pinned the British along the creek of Brandywine River, Brandywine Creek, and then enabled the surrounding left division of Cornwallis to attack the right flank of the American army. So you see here the beginning of the right division. The commander is this one here, is General. Let me use my best German, General Wilhelm Kniphausen. I hope it's like that. Speaking German even makes me cough. Not that I don't like. It's a beautiful language, but not easy, as everybody knows, and with long words, also, as everybody knows. So you see here the General John Vaughan, okay, here, and then several of the units of his brigade. These guys were not exactly brigaded, but they are very close to Vaughan's brigade, and these are the Ferguson rifles. And these guys were made using what? I think the bodies of grenadiers from airfigs, British grenadiers, and with Confederate hats. It was it was not very easy to find their uniform, but I think it became reasonably accurate. Like this, there were only around 140 of them, so it's enough for 2 bases, even if it's a little bit exaggerated. You can see also the Ferguson rifles, which are also again not Ferguson rifles, Queen's Rangers. Sorry, you can see here the Queen's Rangers coming from Austrian grenadiers with a number of cuts, of course. They became very reasonable Queen's Rangers. There were 400 of these guys in the battle. As you can see, more or less, the stand is around 100 men. There was also one squadron of the 16th Light Dragoons here, artillery again. Then you see the introduction of more PSC figures. They're very, very lovely figures. Gaming pieces, but extraordinary, well-designed figures. Together with some Revel ones to the back. There was also a Fusilier battalion, which was the 23rd Foot. Here they are, and of course they are made from the FX Grenadiers. More PSC and Revel, and more PSC and Revel over there for the other regiments of the brigade of Major General Sir John Vaughan. Okay, so now let's more artillery. Also here starts. I mean, it's not here. It started before, but I didn't show you. These guns are also British. American War of Independence guns, and they are also coming from PSC. This is one piece, which is a lovely, lovely design. Just in one piece, they can make this very beautiful gun. And this officer, for instance, comes from the American box of American War of Independence by Italeri. The others are accurate and FX. More infantry converted to artillerymen, and more of those contraptions that I've showed you before. Now, one last British brigade, at least used in the battle, which was the James Grant Brigade. So James Grant is here, I think, and you can see here a number of its. In fact, there were 4 battalions, but they are all. As there were, some of them were very small, so I used 2 regiments. One is the 40th, and the other one is the. Let me show you the 63rd Foot, and they. These 2 regiments, I managed to compress them, to compress all the other battalions that are not here. Otherwise, there would be small battalions with 2, maximum 3 stands. More artillery over there, of the same kind. And finally, another Essen Brigade with Major Johann Stirn. Here he is. More grenadiers and more musketeers by Revel. And the artillery is here, also a 5.5 inch gun and more limbers. And last but not least, the Reserve Brigade of Alexander Leslie. Here he is. And all these figures, these very beautiful figures, all these Highlanders, which represent 71st Highland, they are also from PSC. They are gaming pieces by PSC. Very nice figures. Exactly the same size of others and very beautifully made. Of course, it forced me to make a few conversions. For instance, new arms for the... You can see the guy in front, and you can see to the back what had to be done to some of the arms of the flag bearers, and also some of the officers had to... In fact, there are no officers here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, exactly. So the officers had to be made with some added pieces, of course, and also some... Let me think if there were really... Yeah, I think there isn't any officer here, so they had to be made up with help, of course, of green stuff. And Piper is probably the one from Eshe, Waterloo Eshe, then with a new bonnet. So the 71st is here with its three battalions. And here you have, let me just show you the last thing, which is some of the houses. Some of the houses I made for the battle. Let me show you. So there is plenty of information, as I told you, that you can take from the internet. Lovely maps. There's plenty of stuff. And I also use, for instance, you can see here John Shadd's house. For instance, this is the house of John Shadd. This is probably the... You can see here the house. You can see here the back of the house. So this is the back of the house, okay? And you can see here the front part. And you can see, you can find it on the web. It's a little bit troublesome to find some of these very, very old pictures from late 19th century, beginning of the 20th century. For instance, nowadays the house is like this. It isn't much to do with you see there isn't this veranda and things like that. That's probably the veranda is contemporaneous of the battle. The house is slightly different nowadays. Even if an American like to take care of things, I mean, frankly, I'm not sure if this is made in order to be like exactly the one of the because this is a more recent picture of the John Shadd's house in during the 18th century, or if in fact if this one, even if the picture, which is this one, is much older, if this part here is an add-on. I'm not sure. So, but I enjoyed even so making this veranda. It looks cool. Also, other houses that you can find, for instance, Benjamin Ring's house. It's here. Benjamin Ring's. It's here the house. Okay. These are Pennsylvania houses, of course, with this kind of all this is paint. I don't texture stuff much. I just try to do some tricks with paint, and this you apply some sandy color over the black, and then you use this kind of colors in order to make the color of the Pennsylvania stones that with which the people made their houses. And the last one is Birmingham's Birmingham what is written here? Birmingham Meeting House. Birmingham Meeting House, exactly, sorry. And this is it. You can see it here. Okay. And okay. So my idea with houses is always the same. Try to make it as small as possible, making 20mm doors and windows. And like this, you can compress a lot of space into a relatively small base. So I hope you have enjoyed. So in the future, I'll show you the Americans. There are still a few brigades to finish, not much. It's almost finished. But in the meantime, probably I'll go to something else in terms of videos. I mean, in terms of videos, I'm not sure. Next will be, you can see it on the blog, there will be a Saxon corps for Wagram in the famous battle of 89, during the War of Fifth Coalition. It will not be, there will not be a video because it's a corps, it's not an entire army like this one, for instance. So there will be a blog post. You can check if you want at jpwargaming.blogspot, or jpwargaming place if you want. If you Google any of these expressions, you'll go there. Okay, hope you have enjoyed, and see you next with another big unit. Bye bye. Cheers.